My name is Martha Dowell, and I'm going to practice modeling part of a lesson for self-regulated strategies development. What you'll need for this lesson is first the graphic organizer that shows the strategy. POW, WWW, what equals to, how equals to. You'll also need your self-statement sheet, and I'm assuming that we've already done a few lessons about the self-regulated strategies, so students should already have some self-statements. To think of good ideas, I have take your time, good ideas will come. Something I wrote for while I work is, can I use a better word here? Which story part is next? To check my work, I wrote, I can't wait to share my work. I will go back and follow the story parts now. Or rather, I will go back and fill out my story parts now and use my graph to see how many I got right. You'll also need the graphic organizer for the strategy, where students will take their notes. And finally, you'll need your Story Rockets graph so that when you're all finished, you can see how many story parts you correctly have in your story. So those are the things that you need to begin. After you've reviewed the POW, WWW, what equals to and how equals to with your class for the day, you may post it. I'm going to post it today because my class isn't quite ready to have the mnemonic totally memorized, so I'm going to refer to it throughout the lesson today, and that's perfectly fine for your students as well. I also have my self-statements here to remind me of things I need to say to get started while I work and then when I'm finished. So let's move into how I would model writing my story. Today, class, we have a picture that we're going to write a story from. So the first thing in our POW is to pick my idea. So I just need to be calm, and ideas will come to me. Take my time. I'm going to look at the picture. It looks like the turtle is really going out on a limb to help this chipmunk. Or maybe they're going to be in a battle, or maybe the turtle's trying to save the chipmunk. I think I'll pick that idea. I'm going to go ahead and leave this up here so that I can see it, and I might also refer to it again if I need help thinking of ideas. It's always helpful to go back and think about things. So the next step is, once I've picked my ideas, is to organize my notes. So to organize my notes, I have a graphic organizer that I showed you before. So I'm going to take notes here, and I'm just going to not write in full sentences, just get my ideas down on paper so that when I write my story, I'll be ready with all my ideas. So I'm going to start. It says who, and the question is, who is the main character? The turtle's the main character, and his name is, how about a good name that starts with T? How about Tristan the turtle? So Tristan is a turtle. He's green. He's in 4th grade. And he likes to help other people. Likes to help people. Let's see, the next W. When does the story take place? I'm going to say in a summer glen at noon. That sounds nice, doesn't it? A summer glen at noon. The next W, where does the story take place? And I'm going to think to myself, keep going, Martha. I know which part comes next. It says, where does the story take place? And you know what? I kind of covered that in when. So I'm going to draw an arrow to a summer glen. So my when now says at noon. And I'm going to write sunshine to remind me that it's a nice day out. You can't see the sunshine in the picture, but I'm just going to imagine it using my head. Where it happens is in a summer glen. And guess what? They're in a tree. Okay, the next questions are harder. What does the main character do or want to do? So I'm going to write about Tristan because it looks to me like he wants to save someone. Wants to, and $1 million word, a better word there is rescue. He wants to rescue Chipmunk. And so the Chipmunk, and how about the Chipmunk's name can be Chester Chipmunk. He's scared and lost, and the turtle's going to save him. So the next W, what happens then, and what happens with the other characters? So I'm thinking, so Tristan, he's a turtle, right? So I'm thinking he's moving very slowly. What's a better word for slowly? I'm thinking of, can I use a better word? So a better word for slowly is trudged, maybe. No, trudged makes you think like it's sad. So how about Tristan plodded? Because turtles are slow. And that's kind of a sentence, which I do need to avoid, so I'll work on that. He plodded to the edge of the limb. He was scared too. Because it's high, I would be scared too. It's really high up on a limb. Chester trembled and called, so he trembled, called out. And I'm going to think about what he said a little bit more and just include that in my story. The next question asks, how does the story end? That's great because I'm just about to the end of my story. Tristan makes it. Actually, I'm wondering if I really want it to end like that. I'm going to take my idea. I'm going to take my time because good ideas will come to me if I'm just patient and I let my mind flow. Because I'm kind of stuck here. I'm not sure where to go next with my story. Because I know Tristan makes it to the edge, but then how does he help the chipmunk get down? I have an idea. Okay, what if Tristan pulled a parachute takes a parachute out, and then he and Chester fly down. Fly is not a very good word. Can I use a better word there? How about glide? Chester glides down. And then, what should they do at the very end when they get to the ground? Let's just have them hug. Or maybe say thanks. Okay, I think that's a pretty good ending. They glide down together on a tandem parachute. That's pretty cool. And now I'm looking at the last H. It says, how does the main character feel? And how do the other characters feel? So at the end, well, I've already talked about how they're feeling kind of scared. So at the end, they're feeling Chester, the chipmunk, feels grateful because he says thanks. And Tristan, I'm going to say Tristan feels happy because he helped someone. And remember, I said that about Tristan the turtle in the beginning, that part of his character is that he likes to help people. So I'm going to check my work, and I'm going to go back and see if there's any better words I can use or any ideas that I want to change before I move on. So it's about Tristan. He likes to help people. What's another word for green? Maybe I could use a better word for green. I might insert, how about emerald? He's an emerald turtle. And I think maybe instead of Glen, I'm going to use summer forest. a cool summer forest. So you get more of a sense of how it feels, like a cool, dark summer forest. And then the reader can really understand the way that you're feeling. And then at the very last how, I wrote that Tristan the turtle said he was happy because he helped. But I think a better word for that would be proud. Or maybe his buttons were bursting. So this is what my finished graphic organizer looks like. You can see that there's not full sentences here, but just ideas that will help me as I start to write my story. I'm ready to write and say more. So you want to encourage students to have their self-statements out, and also they're filled in graphic organizers, so hopefully they don't forget any of the story parts. Now, what's my goal here? I'm trying to write a great story, and in order to have a great story, I need to have all 7 story parts. I've got them written down, so I think that I can do it. And before I start, I just kind of want to let my mind flow, and I want to be patient because the beginning is really important. I'm going to start the beginning of my story pretty simply because it's a story about animals, and it's also kind of fantastical because the turtle has a parachute. So I'm going to start by saying, once upon a time. Once upon a time, there was a turtle named Tristan. Tristan loved to help other people. I think I'm going to go back here and do some revising as I write. And instead of writing Tristan loved to help other people, I'm going to write this emerald turtle loved to help other people. He especially liked to climb trees, even though it took him a very long time. Okay, so I introduced Tristan the turtle. Chester Chipmunk's not in the picture yet. What story part is next? Oh, the setting, when and where. So I'm going to say, one summer day at high noon, Tristan was high atop a tree in the great forest. Okay, so I've got when and where. Now which story part comes next? Okay, I need to think about what's happening. How does he run into the chipmunk, I wonder? Okay, so I have one summer day at high noon, Tristan was high atop a tree in the great forest. He wanted to see the view, so he climbed out to the highest limb. I've already used the word climbed once, so I'm thinking to myself, can I use a better word for climbed? I'm going to use the word sidled. Because, I kind of think when you're walking out on a limb, you're going kind of sideways. So he sidled out to the highest limb. Then he meets the other character. To his surprise, He saw. He, cross that out. He looked up and saw Chester Chipmunk. Saw Chester Chipmunk. He must be lost. Chipmunks should not climb so high. I'm a little stuck here because I really feel like the characters should talk to each other, but I'm not sure I want to do dialogue in this piece, so I kind of need to think about what I want to write next. So I'm going to be patient to let my mind flow, because I know that Tristan's going to go out on the limb to rescue them. So I'm going to reread what I've written and see if I can keep writing from there. To his surprise, he looked up and saw Chester Chipmunk. He must be lost. Chipmunk should not climb so high. Oh yeah, I wrote Chester trembled on my graphic organizer, so I'm going to use that. Chester was trembling. I really like that word. I think it's going to work really well here. Chester was trembling, and Tristan knew how to save him. I'm coming. Slow but sure, said Tristan. Thanks, shaked Chester. And then I just think it's kind of funny that he's afraid of heights, so I'm going to write, he's going to say, I'm afraid of heights. I'm afraid of heights. I might go back later and think about why Chester was in the tree at all, but I'm not sure, so I'm just going to continue on here and maybe come back to that later. I'm afraid of heights. When Tristan gets to the edge, he pulls out his, what kind of parachute? His trusty parachute. Parachute. Hold on tight, shouts Tristan as they jump. Do you think I can think of a better word for jump? I think I can. How about as they leap off the tree? Okay. So I did my second what, I did my how, they glide down, and the second how is how do they feel at the end. So I'm going to write first they land. So after a smooth landing, Chester says, thanks, Tristan. You are one brave turtle. And then Tristan beams. That's $1 million word, using beams instead of smiles. That's a good one, Martha. Tristan beams. I'm always happy to help. So that's where my story notes end, but I think I want to add like a little bit more at the end so it's a better conclusion. I'm always happy to help. The two hold hands. No, I don't really like that. I'll be calm and an idea will come to me. I'm always happy to help. How about, okay, they pack up the parachute and head home. It was a great day in the forest. Wow. So then, okay, I think I'm done with my story, but maybe I should give it a title. I think I'm going to write it. How about the title, Turtle to the Rescue? Now that I have a title and I'm finished with my writing, then I can look for each story part. I'll do that next. After you finish writing after you've finished with writing your story, then it's time to go back and see if you got all 7 parts. Because remember, our goal today was to write a great story with all 7 parts from our graphic organizer. So I'm going to see if I got all 7. Did I have who? I wrote about Tristan and Chester. When? Let's see. Yep, I said one summer day at high noon. That's when. And where? I wrote, so I know it's summer day, and he was high atop a tree in the great forest. So I did get that one. So that's 2. Oh, that's 3 rather. What? Tristan wants to rescue the chipmunk, and he finds Chester, and he's scared and lost, so I've got that. And then Chester was trembling, and he called out to him to save him, and Tristan said he would come get him. And then the first how is how does the story end? So Tristan pulls out his parachute, his trusty parachute, remember, and he glides down, so that's 6. And then 7 at the end, Chester is grateful, and then I showed that Tristan was proud by saying, I'm always happy to help. And then I ended it, and they head home, and I said it was a great day in the forest. I think I could use a better word there, but I'll change that when I go back and revise. So as you can see, on my last 2 stories, I only had 5 parts. But this time, I get to fill in all 7. So I'm going to color in my story rocket. And I'm also going to write the title of the story above it so I know which story it is. Turtle to the Rescue. Turtle ... So here's my story graph that shows how much I've improved using this strategy. So that's it, how I would model a lesson of self-regulated strategy development. I know it was long, but this is a learning process for me as well, and it's helpful to actually go through and model the writing of the story using this strategy. Thanks for watching.